And then once it's up, what I'll do is I'll drop it on, because we're both on Facebook with each other. I'll drop it on there so you can see it on your side.
Sure. Yeah. And I'll take a screenshot, put it on my Instagram too. I'm mainly on Instagram, but even so, my Instagram got shadow banned. I don't know why.
Yeah. All right. So hey, here we go. So welcome to Go for CEO, the brand channel that is allowing you to get into the lives of small business owners, entrepreneurs, startups, CEOs, founders of companies. And I have the distinct pleasure today of a good friend. Over the last few years, I've been able to, build a relationship with this guy, see him grow, move from Chicago to San Diego to now out in Massachusetts, and
Yeah.
one of the great things about that is that change is everlasting in life. So Go for CEO, we're startup CEOs, founders, the stories of the entrepreneur at a small business level up to 25 million in revenue. So we're gonna have a great conversation today, and excited to have the one and only Gregorian. Hey Greg, how are you?
What's up, John? I'm doing well. I'm really excited to be on here. It's the first one I'm doing live, so I'm a little nervous, but no, it's cool. I'm excited. This is my fourth podcast that I've been on this year, which is
Oh,
really
wow.
cool. I feel blessed that I even have a story worth sharing that people ask me to be on their podcast.
Yeah.
But seeing you grow as well, we met in Chicago um, at that entrepreneur event and at the College of DuPage, and we've just been creating this relationship online since, and it's been really cool to see you grow and you progress as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, obviously we're all trying to do something, and it's not just. I feel like, I'm 44, so I'm a little bit older than you. I've got three kids, 44, and I keep on doing, a few things, right? But I really feel, I'll tell you, just a personal note, and I think I shared this now a couple of times, but I feel at 44, and just over this time, because we're in this COVID time. If you're seeing us 2 years from now or 20 years from now, we're in a COVID pandemic situation right now, but you've got entrepreneurs like Greg and myself that are always thinking of doing new things. And I'll tell you, from me personally, over the last 3 to 4 months, I've really started to finally crystallize, like, oh my gosh, like this is exactly what I want to do, right?
Sure.
So there's some cool things about that, but I appreciate you coming on Go for CEO, and we're gonna do some collaborative stuff, brother. I know that we were on
Yes, sir.
stage together a few years
Yeah,
ago
that
through a
was
mutual friend.
fun.
That was fun, and then I got to learn a little bit about you, obviously personally. We had a good time going out to one of the clubs before you left town.
Yeah.
Uh, but I see you now, like on the beach and all that stuff. So tell us a little bit about kind of what's going on. You got the beautiful banner, the branding of how you do things, the way that you help people. Tell us a little bit
Sure.
about what's going on in your current life right now and Lunar branding, and how you kind of launched that part of it.
Yeah, sure. So I started Lunar Branding 3.5 years ago in 2017. I love telling the story of how I started it because, it's to me, it's extremely interesting on targeting some key points with being prepared, taking that leap of faith, don't take no for an answer. I was on vacation in Mexico 3.5 years, and 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago now, actually, it was June 2016. And I was in this, a network marketing company. It was a travel club. And we had this roller banner sign, and it said, "You should be here." And so I'm doing all these crazy, crazy cool events, or activities. I'm jet skiing, I'm parasailing, I'm horseback riding, and I got to use two hands to pull out the sign. And I said, "How can I just use one so I can be safe? I'm hanging onto the horse. I don't want to fall off." It's simple like that. I'm thinking safety from the military. And so I get home and I go buy a retractable key badge. I just clip it to my hip. I clip it to the sign, and it works like a charm. I test it in my pool. I test it outside. I make a video. That was July 2016.
Hmm.
I showed it to the multimillionaires, the top income earners. I said, they should put their logo and sell this, because if I need this, there's got to be a few thousand other people that could use it. Long story short, they all told me no. They laughed at me, said, "You need a patent. No, this is stupid. No one's going to buy it." All these millionaires. So I respect them. They've clearly know something about how to earn money. And I was like, well, that's too bad. I'm talking to the wrong guy if they tell me no. So I just kept it in the back of my head. We go to our event in Vegas in October, and my buddy, I just landed in Vegas. My buddy's on a plane with the president of the company, and he calls me up. He says, "Greg, I just landed. The president was on my plane." He goes, I said, "What baggage claim are you guys going to?" He goes, "Baggage claim 9." So I walk my happy ass over to baggage claim 9 and I wait. And I see that the president of the company, his name was Eddie. He comes over, there's all entourage, everyone's taking pictures, and I get a picture with him. And once I get that picture, everyone's doing pictures and this, and I see this golden opportunity of like, nobody's bothering him. And I said, man, I swear in my mind, now that I remember it, I mean, this is probably not true because there's no skylight, I don't think, at the airport, but I swear there was like this beam of light. You know what I mean? That was like, now is your 30-second opportunity. So I pull out my phone, I take this 2-minute video, I fast forward to the 10 seconds he needs to see, and he's in his phone like this. And I said, hey, Eddie, you got a minute? And he goes, no, I'm busy. And I just stick my phone in his face anyway. I didn't take no for an answer, right? I stick it in his face politely. I mean, not directly in his face. I say, hey, Eddie, look at this. He looks, he says, this is a great idea. And he says, take my phone number, my email, text me this conversation, text me the pictures, so I know what you look like. I'm going to introduce you to the CEO that weekend. Introduced me to the CEO. He's a Marine veteran. We buy each other a drink. It was my retirement weekend from the Army. And then he goes, I show him my idea. He goes, I love it. I'm going to give you the marketing guy, the president of our marketing. I said, great. So I get on email with him. Long story short, I fly down to Texas in their headquarters in March of 2017 and April 2017. And I launched my company in May 2017 because they said, hey, look, we don't need to buy from you. We can buy from anybody, but it was your idea. So here's where we're going to go negotiate for numbers. And you know what? We love your entrepreneurial spirit. If you go start a company, we'll buy from you. And I said, okay. So I did my due diligence and my research, from that October weekend all the way till May when I launched. And that light bulb moment went off. I said, I can sell to anybody who's got custom, apparel, custom merchandise, custom anything, phone cases, water bottles, mugs. I mean, stickers. There's over 1 million products now that I have access to. So that's kind of how I started, and it was a really cool story to me to not take no for an answer. And then exactly a year later, my product was being sold at that same event in October in Vegas. We have that yearly event and it sold out. And I actually bought a few and I went up to the millionaires who told me no. And I said, here you go. And they go, I'm sorry, I was wrong. So it was like a little, hey man, it was really cool for me to experience that. But that's the quick backstory of where, how Lunar branding started. I was actually a different company name, but I rebranded after 7 months, after going to my industry expo, to Lunar branding. I got the NASA font, I got the waning crescent moon. To me, I love space. So I created a space themed company because I can do so much with it. I started in Chicago, I moved to Southern California, and now I'm in Massachusetts. I'm actually living in Cape Cod at my family's house. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Lunar branding. That's how I started. And basically the mission of Lunar branding is to help companies maximize their marketing dollars. And the way I do that is help consult with them on what products fit their target audience, their budget, their brand, their logo, all these different factors, because most people only know what they see or what they're exposed to, which is every other product that people have. Whereas I see all the emails and I see all the new items that come into our industry from my suppliers. So I'm able to consult with them. Hey, I know you wanted this widget, but did you see this one? This one fits better with your brand. It's actually cheaper, or you can get more, bigger bang for your buck. Or, I would know about the fidget spinner if I'd had my company prior to the fidget spinner coming out, things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I love helping businesses grow and create clever marketing solutions. So.
Awesome. So let's go back to you got your start in the entrepreneur side with this travel company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you were out in the military, right? Serving. First of all, Thank you for serving. I was your military veteran.
Yeah.
I read a little bit of your background, and this may not be the perfect time, but it was pretty awesome to hear that your brother makes it into, I think it was Annapolis, right? Or
yeah, my brother's a Naval Academy grad.
Yeah, he's Annapolis, and then you go to West Point, right?
Correct.
Later.
Sibling rivalry. Yeah.
Oh, sibling rivalry. I saw another one. Your dad's name is Felix, right?
Yeah, and he was in the Army, so I wanted to be my dad's favorite son. That's why I chose West Point. My grandfather was Navy, so that's why my brother chose Navy. And yeah, it's really cool to come from a military family.
What an incredible background, right? And I'll tell you, I mean, it's really awesome. You say your dad's favorite son. I'm an only child, and my mom would say you're my favorite son, mi hijo preferido in Spanish.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, I'm your only son. What are you talking about? So, but No, but what a great background. So you're in the military. You've got these things that you've done, you've achieved. Being in the military, West Point, Annapolis, your brother, this competent, this competitive spirit. Your dad, obviously ex-military as well. Where does some of that? Do you think it's nurture or nature that came through you, the entrepreneurial spirit?
So I started my entrepreneur. I love this conversation because I believe it's in your nature to do it. That's just my opinion. Because when I was a kid, when I say a kid, I mean like 10, 11 years old. That's when I really started entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you how. Um, my parents always said, focus on school, focus on sports. You don't have time for a paper route, no job, nothing like that. And I was like, okay, well, I want to go buy, new shoes or whatever, a CD player or something, a new CD with my own money. You know what I mean? And because they didn't allow me to go have a paper route, I had to think of a clever way to make money that isn't the traditional sense that most people do, whether it's a W-2 or a 1099 or whatever it may be. And so they banned gum and candy at my school. So because kids were throwing the wrappers and the gum. And I said, I'm a responsible 11-year-old. Why should I be punished because other people are irresponsible? So I would come to school and eat gum, chew on some gum, whatever. And kids would look at me and say, hey, Greg, do you have any gum? And sarcastically, I responded, I said, do you have any money? And they said, no. And so they came back. They went to a friend that came back with a quarter. And they said, Greg, I got 25 cents. Do you have a stick of gum? And I was like, boom. Wow, I can sell, a stick of gum for 25 cents and it only costs $1. There's 14 sticks in an orbit pack. Unless they've changed it. But I was making a killing. The profit margins were huge. So I started doing that. I sell gum, candy, and I got caught by the principal. Eventually someone told on me, but I was making money hand over fist. And my mom took me to Costco. My profit margins went up. But inherently I knew these things.
Wait. Your mom got a wind of it and supported it, or?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So she's like, she found this shoebox worth of money in my bed or whatever, wherever I put it. And she was cleaning my room. She goes, Greg, where are you getting this money? Are you selling drugs? And I said, no, I'm not selling drugs. She goes, well, how are you making this money? I said, I'm selling packs of gum. She goes, no way. I said, well, I'm not selling it by the pack. I'm selling it by the stick. And she goes, well, where are you getting the pack? I said, I'm going to the convenience store. She goes, let's go to Costco. We'll buy them in bulk. My profit margin significantly went up. And what was interesting is why I say it's nature, not nurture. I mean, obviously my mom helped me out so she can nurture my habit, but it was inherently in me that I knew what capturing people's willingness to pay was, right? So whether John wanted to pay 5 cents and Sally wanted to pay $1, and Evan wanted to pay 50 cents, I didn't care. As long as you gave me some amount of money, I'd give you a stick of gum. And so no one talked to each other. So they just paid what it was worth to them. And I had no idea what the term willingness to pay was until I was in West Point studying economics. So not until, 11 years later did I knew these terms, but I inherently knew them just from whatever sense. The other thing that really stuck out from basic economics 101 is supply and demand, right? If the supply is down and the demand is up, you can charge whatever, the price goes up. That's basic economics, which I didn't learn again until I was at West Point studying economics. But how did I know it at 11 years old? Nature. That's the only explanation I could think of, right? So I just kind of knew it, and I was just doing my thing. And then that's how I started entrepreneurship. And I went from gum and candy to selling magazines to selling CDs, and then I got into network marketing when I was old enough. I was in 4 different companies. I think I started with Verve or Vima, and then I was in Advocare, and then I was in World Ventures. And then I was in, what's the Forex one? IML, I think, but a very short stint, but over, let's say over 8 years, I was in network marketing because I understood that, okay, maybe I won't make $1 million in network marketing, but hey, I'm going to be able to network with people who do and understand where they put their money and understand different things and network with like-minded individuals. So I love network marketing for the fact that it's a great start for entrepreneurs to see if you actually want to go do the real thing on your own, starting a company from scratch. Because if you can't handle being a sales rep for a product, you ain't going to handle being a sales rep for your own business, in my opinion, right? It's going to be a lot harder.
For that, it's interesting. Now, was there anything about those specific network marketings, or was it just more led through another friend that was entrepreneur like you and brought you in?
Mm, well, I started with, it was a friend that hit me up with Verve and Vima, but I quit that after like a week because they were sending me so much product that it was just stacking up in my apartment. I couldn't get rid of it. I mean,
They were health and nutrition companies.
it was a drink. It was like an energy drink. I don't even know if that company's still around. Then I got an Advocare because when I came back from Afghanistan, I was a personal trainer, and I'm always in the gym, as you probably know from following my social media. You know, I
Yeah.
still am always in the gym, but I was taking supplements, and I thought, oh, I trained myself or I certified myself as a trainer, so I got back on the side, multiple streams of income. You know what I mean? I was in the army, but I was training people on the side on my free time. And I was like, okay, I'll sell them supplements for free, or they can buy supplements and I'll train them for free, whatever, you know, I work out with them. And that's why I got into Advocare. And then I love traveling. So then I ended up switching to World Ventures. And that was a good stint. I was with World Ventures, I don't know, for 3 years. But I'm very grateful for them because they gave me the opportunity to start the current business that I have. You know, it's always looking for opportunities. It's never, I'm going to sit and, you know, and I'm not saying go after the new shiny object. I'm saying no matter what you're doing, right? Make sure you are always looking for that new opportunity because I was able to.
As you can see, I'm in my daughter's room.
Hey, that's fine. It's hey, how are you?
Shut the window.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
That's funny.
Right.
Yes, I was always.
Over CEO.
Yeah, right. It's all good. I I took that opportunity. I said, and that's why I ended up quitting network marketing because I want to take all my energy and focus into my business and like literally went all in. And we'll talk about that later about actually going all in with your company. I mean, liquidating everything to make your dream happen. So,
Yeah, no, we're gonna, and I was just gonna say that, one of the things that came to mind as I'm taking notes is barrier to entry.
yes.
It seems like, you know, for your beginning stints of entrepreneurship, may think about that pack of gum, right? You had it in your hand, and you found the need. These people came for a solution, and you figured out that willingness to pay.
Yeah.
Then you go through your education, you get to West Point, you learn some more things, but then the first few businesses are barrier to entry is very low.
Sure.
But you're not needing to go borrow 100,000 or make mom and dad maybe put a home equity line on their house to help you and stuff. So fast forward, right? Excellent story of just nonstop. The president of the company, he gets you the CEO gets you the marketing guy. A year later, boom, you're at a national event, and you're kind of boldly saying, "Hey, look what happened, Mr. and Mrs. Millionaires."
Yeah. And I have the pictures to prove it. I took pictures of everything. Each of those significant events with the president, with the CEO, with the marketing head. I have pictures of this, and I'm writing a book about it because it's important to document, and it's harder to document going back a few years. So I encourage anyone, if you're on this path, start documenting now. You'll thank yourself in the future. Your future self will thank you.
You bring up a great point, and that's what Go for CEO has a plan to do is documenting the stories of entrepreneurs like yourself, and in this space, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, coming back and having great interviews with people like yourself. So I'm on that same vision, right? I think the one thing I wish Mark Cuban, Damon John, I wish they had video availability back in when they started to share with you. Like even Amazon, I watched a documentary the other day of Bezos, and just his gnarliness of thinking and the way he just thought, but it's all still pictures and very little video.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see. So one of the things that we're going to do with Go for CEO too is ultimately maybe fly into an actual business that is doing $1.2 million, see the inside operations, get access, get inside access, talk to some employees, and then also 6 months later, a year later, if they go to 2.4 or 3.7 million, see those changes. So I'm excited to share those stories too. So, so tell me, I mean, okay, barrier entry. So that was a significant thing for you. Let's fast forward to Lunar branding. You start getting orders, you're getting commitments, maybe diversifying outside of World Ventures as a client. What helped you to scale at 1, 2, 3, 4 more type of clients?
Yeah. So one thing I like to encourage people is don't grow out of business. If I were to scale too fast, like let's
Mhm.
say I run an amazing ad on Facebook for promotional products. One, I don't have my back end system set up to take on 1,000 orders in a day. There's not enough manpower to do that. I don't have enough, like, I don't even know my systems well enough when I first started. I was using Excel, hand jamming stuff in Microsoft Excel to do it,
Yeah.
quote, because I didn't know how to do it. I was just making it up on the fly because I already had a customer before I had a company. So I encourage people to grow at a sustainable pace. Don't be like, I want $1 million order tomorrow when you first start. Because if I got $1 million order, I would have been out of business. I wouldn't have had to handle it. I would have lost that client because I didn't know what I was doing. And they're like, I don't want to deal with a company that doesn't know how to do things. Right. So to grow and scale, I just did it slowly. I had a 9 to 5 job. Right. So I was working with a pacemaker company, and I'd work for them, let's say 9 to 5, and then I work for myself 6 to midnight. And I was still kind of in World Ventures, kind of not, kind of more focusing on my own business and trying to grow that. And um, I would just ensure every new customer, every new client, and they still to this day is like that. They have my cell phone number. They have direct access to me via email, right? My response time is a lot faster because they don't have to deal with customer service. When you call me, you don't get press 1 for customer service, press 2 for graphic art. Now, maybe my company will grow to that and I'll have
Sure.
to go to that model. But for now, it's servicing that customer and for them to feel like they're one of the only customers that I'm serving, when in reality I have a whole book of business, but they feel like, wow, Greg's really taking care of me. Greg really is keeping me up to date about, my order and educating me on the process and this. And because of that great customer service, they're going to refer me to somebody, because when they're sporting their new, pullover sweatshirt or their new phone case or their new mug or whatever it is, someone's going to be like, hey, that's cool. Where'd you get that? Oh, my boy, I got a guy named Greg. He's awesome. Because in my business, right, in promotional product industry, I'm a commodity. This pen, right? Sell me this pen, Wolf of Wall Street, whatever. You go to another promotional product company, there's 20,000 other companies like me, 25,000 others, whatever.
Wow.
We all sell the same end product. We're all getting it from the same suppliers. So we are a commodity-based business. We're a marketing company for other people's products. Like, this isn't mine. I don't patent this pen, nothing, right? So what makes me stand out? How do I stand out and acquire more customers and get more business? Well, customer service and customer experience, right?
Hmm.
That's the only way for you to stand out in a commodity-based business, because I'm just repackaging, reselling. My company's cool. It's space themed. I like space. So anyone who resonates with space themed things or whatever may want to do business with me, just because I literally had a guy text me. He says, hey, I watch your videos. I still don't really know what your company does, but I want to do business with you. Cool. I'll take it. Let's get on the phone. I'll tell you more about my company. Right.
Sure.
And there's just so many companies, so many organizations, so many people out there that need promotional products. I don't need everyone as a customer. Neither does any other of my competitors. So I don't even focus on my competitors. I focus on building my company to service my clients. That's how I grow.
Very intelligent. I mean, and I hope everybody that gets to see this, took some wild notes on that one. Um, it's so introspective to kind of have the mirror in front of your face and go, all right, I want to be a millionaire. I want these big whale clients. And you kind of knew inside yourself, hey, this is the approach I want to take. And then you learned how to get better and better.
Sure.
Right. So, progressively, that's steps that sometimes a lot of us forget. A lot of us forget that business does take a while. You do hit the one that you do see those people that kind of skyrocket in any type of business, and there's that sense of, hey, they're in chapter 13 of their life or their entrepreneurial journey, and you feel like you're at chapter 2, but you want to be at chapter 13.
Mm-hmm.
So that it can be frustrating, but pretty
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
So let me unpack some of that too, as far as, so when you say customer experience, you kind of detailed a couple of different steps.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to say scale, is it scale on your sense of client acquisition or scale on starting to bring in partnership or employees?
Both. And I'll tell you why both, because My business overhead isn't terribly too much, right? It's more of manpower to do order processing, right? It's manpower to be able to pump out virtual mock-ups and to pump out the quotes and to do virtual presentations for customers, because there's over 1 million products. And if someone goes on my site, it kind of looks like Amazon when you're browsing, right? And
Mhm.
they get overwhelmed, right? So they're like, oh man, I don't know what pen to get. I'll just get the same one I got last time, or I'll get the same one that's sitting in my junk drawer because I don't know anything else. And it's 50 cents, right? Whereas the customer experience for me and how I grow is someone says, hey, here's a wish list of items. And sometimes they give me the exact item they want, which is even better. And I'll
Mhm.
quote them on it, or I'll give them a presentation, but I'll also give them some similar options that they didn't even know existed or that may fit their brand. And I say, hey, just like I talked about earlier, I know you were looking for this, but this actually fits your brand better. You're a veteran owned company. Why don't you get this Patriot tumbler that has 13 stripes and 50 stars that fits your veteran company more than, a Yeti may? And it's actually cheaper than a Yeti. So you're getting a bigger bang for your buck, and you're staying within your brand and you're staying within your company, So um, being able to scale from customer acquisition, right? It's a matter of, as I'm bringing in more customers, I would prefer to have less quantity that do higher volume, bigger customers, right? Because it allows me to service them better. If the volume of number of customers come in, that's when I'm going to have to scale by getting some, employees or contract. And I've had that in the past where I had a virtual assistant. Very helpful, extremely helpful, to do that and outsource a lot of the tasks. But then to scale to do that, let's talk about employees first. If you're going to scale to employees, guess what you got to do? You got to have job descriptions ready. You got to have payments ready. You got to understand how you're going to pay them to train them before they bring you in any money. And then you're going to understand why your employer cares so much about vetting somebody before they hire them, right? Because it's your money. Like for me now as a business owner, it's my money. I got to pay to train this person. What if they quit? What if they leave? What if they don't like it? Then I'm out that money that I paid them because I got to pay for their time, and I got to start over. And they didn't bring me anything in return. So you got to think of those things. And then with regards to your customers, depending on your industry, right? Some people sell one widget and that's fine. That's their business, whether it's a product or a service. And they scale with Facebook ads and they scale by getting in front of more people, right? And things like that. For me, on the other hand, I would rather scale to higher end products or to companies that I'll grow with them. I'll start with them when they're a little seed as a company, few employees. Now maybe they got 50 employees. Now maybe they got 200 employees a couple of years later. So I'll grow with them because it's relationship based, similar to you in the financial industry. As you grow with people in your business, maybe their income significantly increases, and so does your, piece of the pie because you're helping them out manage more money, right? So scaling in that sense with regards to um, customers, if I'm taking on more of a quantity, I got to have employees. I just wouldn't be able to service them appropriately, and then I would get bad customer reviews and then bad referrals. So I'm actually sometimes I fire clients or I don't take them on for not a good fit.
So you bring up a couple of good points. Um, Let me ask you some, and again, in learning this CEO mindset, when you're evaluating right now the aspect of going employee compared to partnership and collaboration, are you going to lean on some of the experience of network marketing at all, or does that have nothing to do with it?
You know, what I've learned from network marketing is the sales and presentation piece of things and getting told no a lot. I mean, just getting punched in the face.
Okay.
Sometimes very rudely too, which is fine. I think that's what I took away most from network marketing, that it's a grind and that it's you got to get on the phone every day and the fortunes in the follow up and all those things and those sales skills and those personal development skills. That's what I really took from network marketing. With regards to building a team, I don't think I'm going to set up my business in a way that's similar to a network marketing structure. I do have a foresight of how I'd want to structure it. Let's say, for every three, let's say I grow to a few hundred clients that I'm dealing with, right? Well, I can manage, I don't know, let's say myself, I can manage 50 to 100, whatever. So if one individual can manage, 50 to 100 customers, then, every sales rep I take on should be able to do the same thing. Right. So if I have 50 to 100 customers per sales rep, a few hundred customers, right? I think one virtual assistant per 3 sales reps could be a sufficient model. And I'd
Okay.
create different cells like that. So I'm dealing with the virtual assistants, and the virtual assistants would be dealing with the sales reps, and they'd be coming into me like that. I think that's how I foresee myself kind of growing from an employee standpoint.
Mhm.
Because my company's virtual. I just need people that have Wi-Fi and a computer.
Are you thinking more 1099 or W-2 employee? Do you want to have a little bit more handle on them?
And I would start with a 1099. I would say you could do it part-time. Like I wouldn't want to lock someone in. Maybe even the VAs, I'd probably 1099 them, because then you got to start thinking of things like benefits. And not that I don't want to provide them. It's just, I wouldn't be at
The
unless
volume.
I'm getting, so yeah, I wouldn't be at the revenue to justify that kind of cost. I don't want to take on funding and go put my company in debt. So I would have to either grow at a slow and controlled pace and put away money in the bank like I have been. So then when I want to hire, I can do either full time, or I'll just start with part time and see their work ethic and say, hey, I'll 1099 you. Oh, but if you know, hit these performance goals, if you're a sales rep, and then those will trickle down to the assistant that's helping them do the order processing, then maybe, yeah, I'll give them a bonus here and there. I think that may work better. But I forget who said this. He said a good sales rep doesn't need a base. A good if you're hiring a sales rep, they're not going to ask you commission, or they're only going to ask for commission because they know commission pays more. And if they're really that good and they're confident in their skills, they don't want a base salary. They just want commission. So those are the kind of people that I want to attract to my company, because if they can bring on a business that does, 7 figures a year in marketing materials, which is very common for bigger businesses, that's no problem. They can manage that client, they can manage that account, and under the umbrella of Lunar Branding.
What kind of, so let's get into a little bit of structure or stuff. It seems like we've kind of led this conversation to organic customer experience,
Mm-hmm.
growth, building now a team. I love the VA, so I have virtual assistant to spawn off the 3
Sure.
representatives. So tell me about, so people can learn a little bit about how are you revenue wise, what kind of margins are in there to put in a good sales rep inside that formula?
Sure. So profit margins range, you know, I'll give you the average. They can go as low as 5% as upwards of 200%, depending on the product. But the average range is 30 to 50% profit margin on most products, just, average. The average promotional product company does $400,000 a year in top line revenue, right? They're typically mom and pop shops that just are run by a couple or 2 people, maybe 3 max. Because if you do the math, 400,000, you're taking 40%. Do the
100.
math on that. Plus you got your company bills and your taxes and all this. How much you really taking home? Maybe 100,000, maybe 80,000, right? For one person, if you hit 400,000. So duplicate that. You got to bring in 800,000 to pay 2 people 80,000. You got to hit 1.6 to pay 4 people 80,000, which I think is a reasonable salary, right?
Yeah.
So you got to understand, if I take on sales reps, I think I was told by my friend who brought me into this. I want to say he told me the average they pay a sales rep is 15% of the
Growth.
profit. No, of the profit of that. Because if you're doing the gross, I mean, the company's gonna lose out a lot. I want to, but don't quote me on that. I think it's 15% of the profit margin. So the company, if the product is 40% margin, let's say $100, just to make the numbers easy, $40 is profit, 15 goes to the sales rep, and 25 goes to the company for the infrastructure and things like that. And I'm sure bonuses get paid out based on performance. But 15% would probably be for a sales rep that's managing the account, that's doing things like that. Now, I had 5 companies approach me in the past 3.5 years of doing business to try to absorb my company and
To buy
essentially
you out. Okay.
correctly. It's correct to have me go work for them, bring my book of business over, and they go, "Oh, Lunar Branding would just kind of go away." And I'm like, "Well, I'm a STVOSB," and I said, "I don't want to lose that status because it allows me different things." So when they said that to me, what they would try to entice me with is, "Hey, some would offer a flat fee up front, say, hey, we're going to give you a lump sum, and then you're going to come work for us, and we'll give you 50% of your current book of business, And then I think it was like 35 or 40 of any new business that I brought in, which is significantly more. But because I already had experience in the industry, I already knew what I was doing. I wasn't just a sales rep that has to learn
Right.
the industry, right? So I understand that the value comes, for them. It's better to bring in an experienced guy who's already making sales, already making enough of a dent in their
Sure.
current business in that region for them to reach out to me and be like, "Hey, what do you do?" you
Is
know?
it is there a number that would entice you?
Yeah, it's seven figures,
Okay.
multiple seven figures right now because of the systems and efforts that I put into place, because of the current projects that I have working on, because of the IP that I currently have, right? For IP's intellectual property, trademarks and future trademarks that I'm working on, future patents that I'm working on products, right? So I have all these things in the pipeline. You always got to keep your pipeline full, projects, clients, things in the future. And for me, it's I understand the future value of my business. So anything I've been offered now has been some in the beginning was like, 50,000 my first year. And I was like, that's reasonable for what I'm doing. But no, I've put way too much effort, time, money into this for me to sell it for 50. I've been offered upwards of 150 and I still said no because, that to me is not enough. That's just not where I'm at. Like if someone were to give me a check today, let's say if I give you a number for $5 million, someone's like, hey, here's $5 million, Greg. I'll give you 2.5 now, and I'll pay you 2.5 over the next 2 years. You stay on, you transition your customers to us. Maybe I do that, right? Because of all the effort, all the time and stuff I put into it. But other than that, like I understand what I can build my company to. If I've done this much in the past 3.5 years to where I've built it now, and I have 6 major services that I offer as a business, and I can grow that, and I can bring on people, and I can continually inspire people to say, hey, here's how you start a business, here's how you grow it, here's how you do this. I'm not one of those people that are an online coach and buy my course. Like, let me build a company first, like Andy Frisella says. Let me build my company first. Let me do it over, 5, 10, 15 years, and then I'll teach you how to do it. I think that's the kind of model I'd rather go for.
I love it.
Everyone has a price, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's interesting, kind of looking at hopefully everybody that's tuning in and getting a chance to see this in the future as well. You learned a lot of nuggets there. There's nuggets of expansion, right? Again, and the structure of things, and then having a price, having an understanding of where you're at. Let's take the example of Shark Tank. I think some people go into Shark Tank that are small business owners and probably overestimate the value.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'd agree with that, Greg.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll overestimate the value of my company. Someone's going to come and be like, "It's not worth $5 million." Yeah, if you look at my books, if you look at
actual revenue,
my financial statements, of course it's not. But for me, I have the vision in the next couple of years. I can build it to a multi-million-dollar business, and I can sell for it, which is why I'm not going to sell out now, unless someone gave me what I see the future value in it being, right?
Yeah.
Which is also the reason I wouldn't take on equity partners. I'd only want 1099 because I don't want to give up. I mean, people definitely overvalue it on Shark Tank.
Yeah. Well, and too, at that point, you have to decide, in your case, it's not so much that they're looking to buy you, the individual, right? The brand you said they're kind of putting Lunar branding to the side, and that's not that you have a vision of. Like, you want to make Lunar branding, it seems like a nationwide and a worldwide brand.
Competitors to them, yeah, absolutely.
So you have to take that timing into perspective, right? So help me understand here. So you had said earlier you kind of bootstrapped this thing throughout the years.
Yeah.
You don't believe, and I may have misrepresent this. You don't believe in lending right now to leverage to grow, or how are you?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take. I don't need to. I mean, people call me up all the time. Hey, we'll give you funding. We'll give you funding. I don't want a 30%, interest rate on $100,000, especially during COVID. No thanks. You know what I mean? You're out of your mind. There's these loan sharks looking to give funding, and they're like, you don't have a project you want to put it on. It's not that I don't have a project I want to put $100,000 in. It's that I don't want that interest rate.
Yeah.
Nor do I want to pay back.
Jeez.
Yeah, nor do I want to pay back. And I have A1 credit. It's just a matter of like, okay, maybe they give it to me at 22%, but even so, I'd want that's way too high. So for me, I believe in bootstrapping your company because then you don't owe anybody anything. For me, I liquidated. Now, when I started my company in 2017, I started in May and I still worked 9 to 5 all the way through the rest of the year. I didn't quit my job until the end of that year, and I was working full time for myself in 2018. That at that time, I had a few major events happen to me. I had a lot of money stolen from me, still under investigation by the FBI and the SEC. Yeah, so that put a little ding in my, nest egg. I had a 2 year, let's say 18-month to 24-month runway to build a business without having to get a job. That reduces me down. I had another business venture that I lost 15,000. I lost $12,000 in Forex. I had just bought a car, so I had an unnecessary toy that was like $20,000. That Batmobile I used to have, the slingshot, a lot of fun. But I had just bought it, and then I had all this negative financial things happen to me, and I was like, man, I don't need a toy right now. But I had just bought it, so I ended up keeping it. But in retrospect, if next time I buy a thing that's a luxury, I need to have 3 to 5 times that cash amount before I buy it once.
I love it.
So that's just lessons learned. So I ended up going from like essentially, and I had a rental property that had $70,000 against my name. And then I ended up having a credit card debt, living off my credit card because I quit my job, go to build my business. So I go essentially from debt free to $253,000 in debt in a very short time frame. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? Right? I should probably go get a job, but I want to burn all the bridges, right? Burn the boats, burn the bridges behind me. Only one way forward, build your company all in, right? Like I talked about. And so I ended up liquidating first. I said, okay, here are my targets. I said, if I don't make X amount of my business by then, I got to pull this reserve. Let's say it being my stocks. I'll liquidate my stocks. I'll go a few more months. If I don't make X amount of my business by this time, I got to pull another reserve. Let's say it's my Roth IRA. Those two I was pissed about because, 10 years worth of growing those, you can't get compound interest in the past back, right? So I had to make a calculated decision. What am I going to do? Okay, I pull those reserves. All right, I got to sell my rental property. Damn, I didn't want to do that, right? Pull another reserve. Time goes on. And then I said to myself, well, shit, I'm not going to make it into 2019 without filing bankruptcy unless I get a job. So I ended up applying for jobs. I got a job with Deloitte, right? Worked for them for 18 months and they were very helpful. I learned a lot with them. It was a great company, awesome culture, great experience. I was with them in Southern California and I came back to Boston in their Boston office. But, I did whatever it took in 2018. I was networking, I was coffee dates, whatever, just to get more business, just to get more buzz. And I still have continued business from Chicago, just from networking, right? And
yeah, we worked on a couple of ones that come through, but I know that with all those and those guys.
But going all in, literally, I liquidated my everything. So that's why I was like, I either need to get a job or I'm going to file bankruptcy. So I do what I had to do. But even in the meantime, I was driving Uber. I was renting out my brand new BMW X4 on Turo, right? So I'd Uber from like 4 to 8 or 4 to 9 in the morning. And then I'd rent it on Turo the rest of the day because I wasn't driving it. So then I'd rent that and I would just work on my business. And so I'd make a couple $100 a day, some days $1,000 just on my car, right? And I was like, okay, this is enough to pay this bill and this bill. And I was living you saw where I was living, downtown Chicago in Aqua. It was a great place. No regrets, all these lessons learned from, I know people say live below your means, right? And okay, that's fine mentality. It's the safer bet. I'm a riskier guy. I like to live above my means, but then continually strive to get it, continually produce. But as I'm getting older, I'm probably getting to that line below, right? I mean, that's just me. I'm more of a risk taker than most. So
how old are you now?
30.
So yeah, man. I mean, look, and
be a billionaire by 40. You watch.
What's that?
I said I'll be a billionaire by 40. You watch.
Let's do it, man. I want to see that journey and chronicle it on Go for CEO. Yeah. So, it's interesting, right? I have some journeys that I'll share probably offline, but had the similar things at 10 and 12 years old. Back when I was a kid, I'm 44, so I'm older than you. There was this this orange cleaning stuff. So I would go around the neighborhood and cleaning these cars with this orange solution.
Yeah.
There was a time in the early 90s, you might ask your parents, like, orange clean, everything needed to smell like orange back in those days. It was kind of amazing. So, but I got that idea, right? And then I got into a telecom company. We had 3 retail stores and blah, blah. So I don't want to tell my story here, but my point is, in my 20s, you know, you do everything, man. I was 200 and something. When you said 200 something thousand, I was $270,000 in debt with
Yeah,
the
so the
with,
exact struggle.
with the retail business. We had 3 retail stores. My problem was that my partner, I was sales and marketing, so I was VP sales and marketing in
Okay.
our structure, co-owner, but he was operations, and he didn't pay what's called a employee tax, and we had about 17 employees at 3 retail stores. It was mostly part-timers, but he didn't pay employee tax. He didn't pay some taxes that we really got fined pretty hard. So I
Oh
learned that
my
lesson
God.
going into my 30s, and then I met my wife, and now 3 kids later, similar struggles, even just recently with the financial business, having to kind of hawk some things, do some things, right? And you and I
Yeah,
know that I did some moves earlier this year where I sold a piece of the book of business to get into Huntington and stuff, and I'm building this Go for CEO brand outside of that.
sure.
But it's amazing, man. Like that's what I want to share with people. Like, when people tune in to Go for CEO and hear the stories of Gregorian, military guy, background, nature, nurture,
Yeah.
how he's structurally putting this business together. What is he doing to dynamically grow his business? But then also, what about lending? What about, do you bootstrap it and stuff? So these are all things that I think are
It
missing.
depends on the type of business. If I'm going to go start like a tech company or a pharmaceutical company or a
Yeah.
medical company, I can't I'm not a billionaire to bootstrap that. You're going to have to go get funding from the billionaires and multimillionaires, right?
Yeah.
My business, my industry, as I'm building it, and when I first did my research, I knew what it took to build. And I don't need to have a storefront. I could, but I don't need to.
No, no.
I can just drop ship samples. I can drop ship the end product to the customer. I just need really, really good customer service and really good customer experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's such a now. Is there a number that you have in target? So what are you doing? We always ask for Go for CEO. Where are you at so we can chronicle this? And if you don't mind sharing, what kind of
Yeah,
revenue are you guys doing?
sure. I'm about $100,000, on average a year in revenue. I was on track this year to hit the average of 400,000, but I missed out. Some of my biggest clients are some marijuana companies. So 420, April 20th is typically an important day for those who partake in marijuana. I don't, but the month of April for the year 2020 was going to be a huge month for events. So since
Yeah.
November, I spent a few $1,000s in samples to send them. We were talking about things, sweatshirts and koozies and all this, tote bags, all this stuff. Ended up being about $300,000 in quotations. And then because of COVID, couldn't do the order. They couldn't host their events. And so it's not the first time that I had a major order, fall through in 2018. I had an $84,000 invoice sent ready to be paid for lip balm. The guy called me up and said, I'm not paying that. And I was like, okay, well, you're not getting your lip balm. So, time and time again, I've had big orders just fall through, but you gotta, have that think and grow rich mindset, which I'm rereading and retaking notes on again.
I got to invite you on Saturday mornings. I
Yeah,
don't.
this book.
Did Peter send you the invite to Saturday mornings? He's on a panel. I'll send it to you afterwards. But
Yeah. So, but I've talked with people in my industry, and the people who've called to buy me out. They said the fastest way to grow your book of business and promotion of products is to not grow customer by customer, is to go buy smaller promotional product companies like myself, where I'm currently at. And it's disheartening because in the first year I did first few months I did like 8,000, and then it was like, I don't know, 50 or 60,000, then it was like 80,000, and then I want to say last year was like 130. So that's why like my average is 100, because if you look at over the few, whatever, it's like, that's kind of where I'm at and where I'm targeting for the rest of this year, because this business is open, with the mask and PPE and hand sanitizer, those kind of sales are trickling in. But I'm grateful that I have enough in the bank, right? I can withstand 0 sales from just my business bank account for the next 2 years. And I made sure of that because when I first started my company, I had that 2-year window, and then I had all these negative financial things happen. Well, now I have a 2-year window, but even with COVID, if I don't make another sale, which is not likely, but if I don't make another sale in the next 2 years, I can keep my doors open. And Damon John talked about that. He goes, you got to do whatever you can to keep your business open because you never know who's going to call you tomorrow. I wake up every day. I said, today could be the email I get from the next big customer. Today could be the call that I get that connects me with my next biggest client. I don't know that. So whatever I got to do to keep my business open, and that's putting money away for a rainy day. And now I'm good. I looked at my overhead. I've redone my systems. I've consolidated my systems. I make sure whatever I'm spending money on every month, I'm actually utilizing, right? So I'm not wasting any money. And, you know, that's how I'm going to grow. And, you know, like I said, I could go 2 years without a sale, but that's highly unlikely because customers reorder. You know, I like to thank all my repeat business customers, and I like to thank all my future customers because I love to do business with you guys. So
awesome. No, hey, you know, and you could feel the passion, guys. You could see Greg kind of, you know, you could see the body language change a little bit the last 3 or 4 minutes. So I want you guys to really understand what an entrepreneur, what a person that's building a business is going through. So
struggle, ups and downs, ebbs and flows. So you get really high days and really low lows. So
I appreciate
it's always
that.
the journey.
And sharing that is big time, you know, and we're going to see you. Hopefully we'll set up a continuing journey of this where 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, we're going to see those growth opportunities. Sure. And certainly you can count on our brand and our friendship to also, you know, promote that side of things for you and bring more value there. So let's take the last 5 minutes and just set a vision, right? Knowing kind of where you're at, knowing this model that you have a VA to sales reps, you know, 3 sales reps, and understanding what you have to do. What does the next 6 months, you know, partake with whatever craziness happens. You know, we can kind of go down a rabbit hole of what we believe with the whole COVID thing and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But the reality is you need to concentrate on business. So tell me from an entrepreneur's perspective, from a person that is now in Cape Cod, building their business online, looking at things, next 6 months, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm actually interviewing VAs this week. So I want to get at least one, train them, see what that's like. They're extremely affordable compared to what I used to pay. And then figure out, okay, if I can get them working and help them understand, you know, the flow of my business, and if they can work out any kinks, if they see any, then bring on one sales rep and see how that relationship works. Right. And everything's about testing. When you're doing systems, any system related things, you have to implement the system and test it, find the kink, find every scenario. That's what I learned at Deloitte, right? And then systems engineering at West Point is creating systems, right, and making them efficient. But then Deloitte taught me about test cases and scenarios. When I'm sitting down with a client and I'm transitioning them from one system to another, you know, if X happens, what does Y look like? If I do this, if this scenario, I mean, you could think of every possible scenario. So when I'm implementing a new system, I got to think of that. Now, but as I'm implementing people, I got to bring them in. Okay, if they do this, if they ask this, because I don't know what somebody knows, right? So the next 6 months, bringing on a VA, maybe a sales rep, right? And then from there, really promoting some of the new services that I'm offering with regards to e-commerce stores, right? Hosting those for customers. And with regards to video marketing, right? Personalized and interactive videos. If you look on my website, you can see the interactive video, which is really cool. You know, you can click on it, interact with it. You can choose what service you want to go. So you kind of funnel that customer. Think of it like a click funnels almost, but not from a static web page. It's from within the video. You can click on it. And I think that's really cool. You saw it, right?
Yeah. Your intro video that you did like the hand signals.
Yeah, you can do the hands that pops up, edit it, you click on it, and then it prompts the next appropriate video to play.
Oh yeah, that was sweet. So I didn't realize that I could click on that branding and then boom, it'll take me to that.
See, and that's the thing where that's the kink that I got to figure out, because you're not the first to say that. So that's my fault to not market that video feature properly. So now I have to go in and figure out, how can I make a 3 to 5 second snippet in the beginning for them to understand that this is a clickable video, because it's brand new technology.
What about, so here, I mean, just masterminding here, and it's a cool thing, new thing on Go Pursue, talking to a business owner, looking mastermind. I love this stuff. So for me, as a person that watched your video, saw the branding, it didn't totally click to click on it. I loved that you edited it perfect, like the symmetry of everything was good. What about either verbalizing, go ahead and click right here for
I
branding.
said it. I say, go ahead and click on the option that you would like to learn more about.
You know, I might have missed that then.
And it's in the subtitles. So now I got to think, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, if you said that, which I'll look at it again because it didn't click on my brain. So maybe, but also what about maybe like a little arrow mouse that clicks on it?
Yeah, that too. There's definitely some feature that I got to input to make sure that people understand this is a clickable video, because it's cool. I put a lot of effort into it. It took me, 6 to 8 weeks to make that and produce it, but it's not getting the traction that I expected, because I'm not teaching the customer properly. And that's my fault,
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe just from a guy that looked at it at a perspective of like, all right, let me see what he's doing, what's new. I thought of it as the video shared the insights of it, right? Of what you're doing. But I didn't, maybe because I'm not looking either. Like, are you getting analytics of people that probably are the target market? So could you take that video, put it in an atmosphere of digital marketing that targets the type of people that are buying your brand, and then say to yourself, did they click through the 6 options?
Well, I've showcased it to my customers and some like it because I want to showcase that software, not just like that's proprietary software that I bought that I want to sell as an editing service to my customers. So if they want an interactive video on their website for their business, they can come to me, send me the content, and I will make it editable, clickable for them so they can have a cool video that's interactive, right? Because like, for instance, you own a retail store. People can't go into the store because of COVID. Let's say it's closed, right? Imagine you can go to your store because it's your store. You take a video, you stand in the front. Hey, welcome to my apparel shop. Do you want to browse t-shirts, sweatshirts, or jeans? And they click, and then the camera, based on that click, let's say they click jeans, the camera then moves to the section of the jeans area. So you're getting like a live virtual tour based on what you're clicking. It's like a choose your own adventure type thing, right? So I want to sell that service to businesses, but I'm not marketing it properly. That's what I got to learn.
Let me ask you some realtors. Hey,
sure.
You want to go into the master bedroom right now? Do you want to go into the living room?
Correct. Yeah, we could do exactly that. There's so much potential, but then at that point you drown in opportunity, because I could do it with teachers. I could do it with educational things. I could do it with network marketing.
Focus on 1 or 2.
Are you looking to build, like if we did network marketing, are you looking to build or just be a customer? Right. And then the next video of you appropriately plays. So there's just so many opportunities, but I have to be able to sell this new this new thing, appropriately, because I'm not. And that's
so I mean, but here, and again, we can go down a rabbit hole. I did want to kind of start ending it to respect time, and we'll definitely be back on a new episode with you. But I know that you wanted to hit that. So this is a little bit of a hard hitting question. So I'm going to tell you up front, right? You want to hit that 400. You've got this 6-month window of VA that you're interviewing right now, and probably 1 sales rep over the next 6 months. Does that work with Lunar branding, or is it just that within Lunar branding you have this new service?
What do you mean new? Like with the video?
Yeah. Because I feel like, is that different?
I pivoted to adding services because sales for products were going down because businesses were closed. So I said, how can I pivot? And I was like, I still want to be of service to my customers. So let me offer a different service. Now I'm offering e-commerce hosting, doing graphic and logo design for them, kind of service based as opposed to the product base that I normally am at, right? So servicing being the video, being the e-commerce, being, brand consulting, taking the time.
Are you going only within your client base?
For now, yeah, because I don't personally, I don't know how to run successful ads. That's not a strength of mine. Right? No. And I shouldn't operate in fear, but I don't want to come into this situation if I run an ad and it goes viral, like I had happen to a friend of mine, right? He ran an ad, it went viral. He got too many orders he couldn't handle, and his reviews on social media, were less than stellar. Yeah. I don't want that to happen to me. So if I run an ad for really cool video software and don't have the infrastructure or the manpower to deliver on that, I don't want negative reviews.
I love it.
I would rather grow slower.
Okay, so organically, and then within your client base,
Sure.
this
Yeah.
new particular service, you always have Lunar branding in the background, just doing its thing, doing its thing, doing its thing, bringing brand
Well, this
awareness,
is still
bringing.
within Lunar. I want you guys to have stellar video ads now, not just stellar custom merchandise, as my tagline is here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to create this atmosphere, because the way I one sentence pitch of Lunar branding now, we are a marketing company specializing in promotional products. So our
Okay.
specialty is hand goods, promotional products, putting your logo on anything you can imagine. However, we have other marketing services such as video marketing
Okay.
that's interactive and personalized. You see?
Awesome. Well, look, anybody listening, you just heard also a pretty unique thing, right? We just had about 30, 35 minutes of a great conversation of how Greg started Lunar branding. What are some of the perspectives of going bootstrapping to lending? How do you structurally grow organically and then also start to, scale up with new employees or 1099? And then we talked about virtual assistants that he's interviewing. And then all of a sudden you get a twist, you get a little bit of a zinger, right? Inside the messaging of how you could also pivot during bad times, right? And maybe losing a client here, or maybe not getting that big order. But Greg's also found some areas that he's still very passionate about and making Lunar branding grow, and it's able to service his clients. So remember, inside your current clientele is the easiest way, and forgive me if I'm wrong here, Greg, but let me know if I'm wrong here, but it seems to me that you're going to be able to grow organic within your client base because of the services that you have, and they're very relatable to Lunar branding and some of the merchandise. Sure. So
Absolutely. I mean, second money is always easier. The first sale is the hardest. Once they buy from you once and they have a good customer experience and customer service, they're going to buy from you again, because now the process is familiar. They're easier. They know who to call. They know what to do. They know what to provide. Right. And that's the other thing going about my name. Sorry, which it's backwards, but branding. Right.
it's perfect.
I'm not ABC Promotions. I'm not, 1, 2, 3 promotional products. I used to be AZ Access Distribution LLC, but I switched to this to make myself specific enough in the branding and marketing world, but vague enough to offer multiple services that fall within this umbrella of branding. So that's
I love
promotion
it.
of products, video marketing. Maybe I'll even end up hiring somebody who's really good at ads, and we can do that for ads, but maybe down the road. I don't know yet. So
Yeah, we'll talk offline. I've got some ideas for
sure.
you. So I've got some guys that I'll probably introduce you to out of Texas that are doing some really cool stuff in the digital marketing space, and
Cool.
and you could actually private label with Lunar branding, and they'll do all the back end stuff. So we'll take that offline. Well, hey man, I really appreciate it. Thank you for being okay with being in the Bay Area.
Hey, it's all good. I appreciate you, John.
I
Thanks for the
had a,
invite.
had a great American flag to salute you and your service and your
Yeah.
service, and what an incredible story of two brothers that are really making things happen in America.
Thank you.
Hopefully next time we also get a chance to talk a little bit about your Armenian background, some of the
Sure.
things you've been doing, more, loving kind of your background and your heritage, and nobody
Sure.
talk about your mom and dad too much, but thank you for doing this. Hopefully what we'll do is chronicle in the next 3 to 6 months kind of an update and start to build a journey and showing people what you're doing to get into the mindset of what you're doing for Lunar branding. And you
Sure.
can count on us to also promote you. So,
I appreciate that. Yeah. Go for CEO. I appreciate it, John. Thank you so much for having me.
all right, my man, have a great day, man. We'll talk soon.
Take care.
Take care.
As always, shoot for the moon.
Yeah.